brought to you today by Club Force and featuring none other than Linfield legend Pat McShane. Pat, good to see you. Thanks for coming on. So your young lad Ben is in our programme at Total Football Academy. What's he been doing to stay active?
He's been trying to keep active every day. I would say the start of the lockdown 6-7 weeks ago now, it was a lot easier. The enthusiasm was always there. He was doing probably pretty much what every other kid was doing, all them challenges with the tour rolls and the willy bins and the skill challenges. Just recently, the last few weeks, come a wee bit more frustrating. Obviously, you're doing all these challenges and all the workouts, but there's obviously no end product. You're not training with your teammates and you're not playing your matches.
Yeah.
So at the minute, it's just doing different activities just to try and keep the fitness up. Yesterday, we did a 10-mile bike ride, which was good. It was interesting. It was easy enough for him, but it wasn't for me.
Obviously, he's in his second year with us. What do you make of the programme?
Listen, the programme ticks all the boxes for me. Since Ben's been there, he's learnt a lot. I mean, but there's the main thing for me. There's no pressure. A lot of these different academies, when you go, there's a lot of pressure on kids and a lot of pressure on parents as well. But TFA, there's absolutely no pressure on any of the kids. They just go to play football the way it should be. It's the way it was whenever I was growing up.
Yeah.
I think it's what football is about. Let kids be kids. Let them go. Let them enjoy their football. Yes, you'll have the discipline there as well through gaming. But you're there to learn, and if you're learning and you're happy, that's what ticks all the boxes for me.
As we know, Ben plays league football for Glenavon, but I want to hear a bit about you. Where did your football career start? Where did it all begin for you?
My football started with Lisburn Youth many years ago. I was scouted in playing in my street. Noel Singleton was a coach at the time there. He lived a few doors up. He used to watch me out his window. And he approached me one day and says, "Look, I would like you to come and trial for Lisbon Youth." And at the age of 8, 9 years old, I says, "All right, I'll go up and have a crack at it." And I travelled up along with a guy, Jackie Johnson, who also lived in the same street as me. And
Yep.
both of us signed at the same time and came through the setup there from the age of 9 until 15.
Obviously, you're saying about being from at Lisburn Youth from 9 to 15. You're obviously spotted by Man United. So there you are, skinny kid, arriving at one of the world's biggest clubs. Tell us what it felt like.
I must admit, it was an amazing feeling whenever I was actually scouted at the Champions of Champions up in the Mollusk.
The old school tournament?
Yeah, we went on to win it. So I was scouted then by the scout Eddie Coulter. It was just at the start of the development program here. So we went down and went through the whole process of training along with different guys from all over the country. And Ferguson came over to watch one of the practice games, and Ferguson scouted me himself. So he liked the look of the left back. So I travelled over, I think it was about 13 was the first time I travelled across. Travelled across with Keith Gillespie, Colin Murdoch, Tommy McElroy and a few others. It was a great insight going to the biggest club in the world. A wee bit daunting at first, the first time I went over, but the more you go back and forward, the more you get used to it, the more you settle in.
So Fergie goes home, tells you to put on a bit of weight. By the time that happens, you're probably around 17. What happened at that point? Did they come back in for you again?
At that point, no, they didn't get back looking at me. Obviously, the class in '82, that squad, that team picked itself. There wasn't any players probably anywhere in the world that were going to get into that team. Never mind a wee skinny kid from Belfast. From the age of 16, I moved to Portadown. I spent 3 great years up at Portadown.
Okay.
Before moving on.
So obviously you were crossed with United. You talk about the class of '92. We can do a bit of name dropping there. So who did you play with or against?
Obviously playing with, I travelled with Keith Gillespie. He went on to play for Manchester United and Newcastle United.
Yeah.
Packham, Scholes, but Neville. Pretty much, pretty much all of them. Robbie
Right.
Savage, pretty much all those.
Yeah, Robbie Sands, yeah, right enough, yeah. If you could go back, and I think this is a great message for all our kids who maybe want to make it as a footballer, what lifestyle changes would you make?
Lifestyle changes. Well, the first thing I would do, I would definitely eat properly. Growing up, being a skinny kid, I lived in cornflakes, so I did. Um, I lived in cornflakes, believe it or not. I was a very fussy eater. That was one of the main things that maybe hindered my progress when I went to England. Whenever I was putting digs, obviously the lady in the digs was told to serve you certain foods, obviously because you were training so hard. And it was all the greens, all the high protein stuff. And I just lived in cornflakes when I was at home. So going across the water, if I could go back, I'm not so fussy eater now. If I could go back, the one thing I would do would definitely be eating properly, drinking the right fluids, and looking after myself a lot more. Obviously, playing in the street and playing in the back garden, training, I probably couldn't have done much more on that side of it. But
Yeah.
obviously, up and giving myself the physical chance to compete against these English kids who are fully grown and fully developed from the age of 13, 14 would definitely be something I would have looked at back then.
So look, United haven't come back in for you. Fergie thinks Giggs, Scholes, and Beckham are better than you, but sure, what's he know, eh?
Exactly.
So how did that affect you, and what was next for Pat McShane?
Well, initially, it did affect me. Obviously, coming back again, I felt almost like a failure. I felt when I was coming off the plane the way home, I had let my mum and my dad all down. Even when I was coming back to see my mates, I felt like a failure. At first, I didn't even want to leave the house. But you learn to get over those, and as a young kid, I did get over it. I suppose what I've probably done was I sort of turned my back on football for a wee while and moved towards golf, believe it or not. And I took up golf before I was pushed back towards the football side of things. Whenever your mother and father are passionate that that's the line you should have been going down, they sort of forced me back into it again, which
Yeah.
I'm eternally for.
As we all know, you were in Linfield for a long time. They signed you in 1998. Tell us a wee bit about your time there.
It was actually 93, 94 I signed for Linfield. So it
Was
was.
it? Okay, there you go. My miles isn't good.
Years before. Yeah, yeah. Listen, whenever I was leaving Portadown, obviously Portadown were very successful side at that time. I spoke to the reserve manager, a guy called Lawrence Patterson, and he says to me, look, it's probably best you probably go and try and get another club to help your progression. And I did. When I left, had a short stint with Climble. I went and trained with Climble for a few weeks before I got the phone call from Linfield. And when the phone call from Linfield came, my father says, look, these scouts want to come and meet you. And when I went and met them, I met with the manager, Trevor Anderson at the time, the head scout, and a few of the board members. All suited and booted. It was very, very, very professional. And they asked me to come with a train for a few weeks. And I says, yep, we're delighted to. And the first night I went down, after the first night, I went back into Trevor's office. And I says, look, Trevor, I want to sign now. And he says, look, I didn't want to come back in the night. I wanted to have the 2 weeks. I says, I'm ready to sign. And I says, I've seen enough. And he says, it's a club for me.
Look, in your time there, you won umpteen medals. 21, I think, was it? 22, maybe. 6 league winners' medals, 4 Irish Cups, and also obviously League Cups as well. How did that feel?
Obviously, when you're a young boy, obviously everybody loves to dream, and I was no different from any other kid. I used to dream of playing in cup finals. I used to dream of winning league championships. I used to dream of playing in front of big crowds and playing on television. And I must admit, whenever I got to my first league championship, it did feel a bit like, yes, this is what football's all about. But when you're at a club like Linfield, Linfield don't rest on their laurels. I mean, the next day you come back to training again. You're back to square one again. You go out and you do it all over again.
Yeah.
And I always said after maybe the first 2 or 3 medals ever won, I always said to myself, no, it is. I'm never going to count them. I'm just going to put them away. I'm going to finish. Then I'll look back and see what I won. And it wasn't until a few years ago, one of Ben's wee friends' parents asked me what I'd actually achieved, and I wasn't 100% sure. And he laughed and he says, "What do you mean?" And I says, "I keep all my medals in a bag." He says, "You haven't got them in the house all over the place?" I says, "No, I keep them in a bag." And he says, "Why?" He says, "You always plan to look back at what I achieved when I finished." So the two of us got the bag out and we laid them all out on the table, and that's where we discovered I had won 20 obviously medals with Linfield and obviously one with Lisbon Distillery. And when we threw them, that's when I discovered what I'd actually achieved.
Very good. Brilliant. Brilliant career in the Irish League, no doubt. So obviously then you left Linfield, went to the Distillery, as you said, won the League Cup, I think, wasn't it? And then you went to DC and went to DC and helped get them relegated. and then on the
I don't have many blemishes, but that was one definitely.
Yeah. So you went on the line then. I suppose of a long playing career in the Irish League, who's the best player you played with?
Oh, tough one. It's a question I'm asked quite often. I played with so many good players from in the 14 years I was with the Blues. I'll name drop a few. Obviously, Glenn Ferguson, Winky Murphy, Lee Feeney, Tony Gorman. But it was the pick one I couldn't look past. Skipper Noel Billy. What he achieved in his career, over 1,000 games, probably nearly 35, 40 winners' medals. I mean, it's an incredible achievement that'll never be passed. And obviously, as a young lad breaking into the senior team at Linfield, he was one of the ones that took me under his wing and looked after me along with John Easton and helped develop me into the player I was to become at Linfield.
I'll tell you a funny story about Noel Bailey. I remember first night down at Windsor and I walked in, as you know, Phil Mitchell was our manager, and Noel had been down seeing the physio, and he comes walking up the corridor because Baz and he's talking to Mitch, and I walked on down. So I'm walking down towards the treatment room, and Noel walks by. Mitch talks to him, and he walks on like, "Mitch, who's that old lad there?" Not obviously knowing who he was, you know. He's like, "What? That's Noel Bailey. That's Noel Bailey," you know. And obviously, as you say, he's the one you wouldn't go by as being the best player to play with. Super player.
Mr. Consistent. I mean, week in, week out, he was giving you a 9 out of 10. I mean, didn't do anything special. He didn't score goals. He didn't get all the accolades that maybe other players did. But what he did give you the consistency and the level of performance week in and week out. I mean, his name is the first on the team sheet every single time. Absolutely model perfection.
So, obviously, we've asked you about the best player you played with. On that subject, who was the best player you played against in the Irish League?
In the Irish League, there was a few competitors I played against. As a fullback, I mean, I relied heavily on John Lean and Wade men because you normally find that Wade men were confidence players. And if you can dent that confidence early doors by whatever means, you normally find that you would have had an easier game. But there was always probably one or two that didn't mind the physical aspect of it. One was definitely Tim McCann. Tim McCann was a top pro. From Climble, obviously moving on to Glentoran. Obviously lightning and quick, physically strong, great crossover ball. Always gave me a tough game. But there was one just outside of, obviously, the Irish League. Was Paddy McCourt. Paddy McCourt was unbelievable before he went to Celtic. I remember playing against him in the Santa Cup. And I can remember getting in at half time. Obviously, anybody that's ever played under Big David will know if you're having a bad game, when you were getting in at half time, you knew to hide behind somebody because you knew you were going to get it big time. So I went in at half time and David just looked at me. And instead of giving me the absolute rolligan, he just looked at me and smiled, and man, because he knew then that Paddy was a top player.
Yeah.
And I was getting the rough that evening.
Pat, do you miss the game looking back?
Looking back, I do and I don't. I would love to have the energy levels to be able to play a match. Really would. I'd love to have the physicality to still play a match. Obviously, a lot of the old Linfield legends still play, but I'm waiting on an operation on my neck. I'm waiting on an operation on my hernia, and it holds me back even from training. Every time I go to try and train or do anything, I end up in a bad way for maybe 4 or 5 days. I can't get out of bed. So I miss that side of it. But I don't miss getting up on a Sunday morning in absolute agony. I must admit.
Who would you say was your biggest influence on your football career?
Oh, it'd have to be my mum and dad, without any shadow of a doubt. Without their influence, especially when in your teen years, whenever all you want to do is go out and play with your mates out the front and run about and do what your mates do when you're 16, 17, 18. Especially when you start drinking, alcohol gets involved, all you want to do is go out and be normal. But especially the influence from my mum and dad in them years, making sure I didn't go out on a Friday night before a big game on a Saturday, was massive for me. It was massive.
You're still received well at Windsor when you go back. You're a club legend. Can you tell us a wee bit about your role there at the minute?
Yeah, I was under Warren Feeney's reign. Warren asked me to come back and obviously be involved. I had just started my coaching badges, and I think it was maybe David Chisholm maybe put him in touch with me. But once I received that call, there was a no-brainer. I was always going to go back. Oh, if I had to go back and carry water bottles, I think to be involved again.
Yeah.
Obviously, my wife and I had another child at the time, so coaching was out of the question. It was too big of a commitment. So obviously the scouting role came in, and I was delighted, absolutely delighted, to go on board as a coach, or not a coach, a scout, sorry.
Obviously, with that in mind, Pat, is there any up-and-coming players that caught your eye in senior football?
There's a bit of a golden era coming through. There's a lot of good kids coming through. Obviously, some at Linfield, but there's some scattered around the Irish League also. Obviously, two of your panel also on the podcast. There are two very talented kids, Cricky and obviously Stephen. I don't like to go away trade secrets, but there is a lot of kids out there who I like to go watch week in, week out. I think to get a good judge of how a player plays week in, week out. I think you have to watch him consistently, and there is particular grounds I visit more than others. Just keeping an eye on particular kids to make sure it's getting them at the right time. If you get them at the wrong time and they're not ready for our first team, they're not going to get their game time. They're not going to develop properly.
Yeah.
So it's letting them stay at the clubs for as long as possible. Let them get the experience. Let them get the experience of playing at the top flight, so that when they do step across, that they're ready for our first team.
So look, Pat, we're ready to wrap up, but lastly, before we go, do you have any advice for any young footballers out there?
I do. Obviously, I was always taught 3 things. You like this one. The 3 most important things in football. Rule number 1: if it moves, you kick it, and rule number 2: if it doesn't move after you kick it, you kick it until it does. No, only joking. Listen, the first thing, looking back at my own experiences, would definitely be treat it every day as a learning day. If the kids are going to TFA, it's very, very important that the kids are listening to what they're doing, especially when they go to Damien, doing the physical stuff. Also when they're going to the likes of you, or whoever else, when they're doing the ball, technical stuff. And also practice. I mean, when you're out the back, out in the street with your friends, when you're going to your training sessions, you're in the match, every day is a learning day. You have to do as much as possible. Remember what you're being told and go and work at it when you're at home. Enjoy it. Football is all about enjoying it. It's all about playing with a smile on your face, and that's one of the most important things about TFA. that's the one thing I notice every Sunday. The kids enjoy it. There's smiles on everyone's faces. And when the kids are enjoying it and the smiles are on their faces, that's when they're learning. That's when they want to learn, because they want to go back week in, week out. And that's what brings kids together, especially in team and group environments. If you're a quiet kid and you get lost in a bigger environment and more outspoken kids, you won't do TFA.
Thanks for taking the time for coming on. We really appreciate it, and hope you stay healthy and stay safe.